Cape Coral's real estate market soared 83% in 2 years. Now it's crashing. Here's why. Just a couple of years ago, this Florida city was the hottest ticket in real estate, with buyers snapping up properties faster than they could hit the market. Prices skyrocketed, and everyone wanted a piece of the action. But now, the bubbles burst, and the fallout is hitting hard. So what went wrong? A perfect storm of factors. First, interest rates climbed, making those once affordable mortgages a lot less appealing. Then, insurance costs spiked, with some homeowners seeing premiums double or even triple overnight. Add in a slowdown in demand as buyers got priced out, and suddenly sellers were left holding the bag. Now, homes are sitting on the market for months, and prices are dropping fast. Some investors who bought at the peak are underwater, while others are scrambling to offload properties before things get worse. It's a stark reminder that what goes up must come down, and in Cape Coral, the landing's been anything but soft. So, picture this. Cape Coral, right? Just a few years ago, it was the place to be. Everyone was talking about it. Sunshine, waterfront properties, the whole dream. People were lining up to buy, prices were skyrocketing, and it felt like the good times would never end. But fast forward to today, and things look a little different. Turns out that hot streak didn't last. The market's taken a hit, and not just a small one. We're talking an 11% drop in home values. That's not just a dip, that's a full-on stumble. And for a lot of folks who bet big on Cape Coral, it's more than just numbers on paper. It's their savings, their plans, their futures. So what happened? How did the hottest market in Florida go from sizzling to struggling? Well, that's the question on everyone's mind. So here's the thing. Over half of the homes on the market right now have had their prices slashed. That's more than 55% of listings sitting there with a big red reduced sticker on them. And it's not just a little trim here and there. We're talking serious cuts. Meanwhile, nearly 1 in 10 homeowners are underwater, meaning they owe more on their mortgage than their place is even worth. It's like trying to sell a car for less than what you still owe the bank, except this car is your house, and you can't just drive it off the lot. The market's tight, buyers are picky, and sellers are getting squeezed. If you're thinking about jumping in, you've got to know the numbers, because right now, the numbers aren't exactly working in everyone's favor. So here's what's been happening. Over the past few years, insurance companies have been hit with a perfect storm of rising costs. More extreme weather events mean more claims for home and auto damage. Medical costs keep climbing, so health insurance gets pricier. And let's not forget inflation. Everything from car repairs to hospital stays costs more, so insurers pass those costs on to us. Then there's the tax side of things. Local governments have been raising property taxes to cover budget shortfalls, especially after the pandemic. Infrastructure needs repairs, schools need funding, and public services aren't getting cheaper. On top of that, some states have adjusted tax brackets or added new fees to balance their books. So yeah, it's a double whammy. Insurance and taxes, both taking bigger bites out of our wallets. So here's the thing. Florida's got a problem, and it's not just the hurricanes. With 1.4 million policies now sitting under Citizens, the state's own insurance plan, the risk is piling up fast. We're talking $500 billion in hurricane exposure. That's not just a number, that's a potential disaster waiting to happen. If a big storm hits, the fallout won't just be about damaged homes or flooded streets. It's about the entire state's financial stability. Taxpayers could be on the hook. Businesses might struggle to recover, and families could be left scrambling. This isn't just an insurance issue, it's a Florida issue. And with climate change making storms stronger and more unpredictable, the stakes keep getting higher. The question isn't if another hurricane will hit, but when and whether the state can handle the blow. The market's in full panic mode now. Builders are slashing prices left and right, desperate to offload properties before the storm hits. No one's biting, though. Investors are pulling out, taking their money elsewhere, leaving half-finished projects in the dust. And the lenders? They've locked up tighter than a vault. No new loans, no refinancing, nothing. It's like the whole system just hit the brakes at once. People who were counting on quick sales or easy credit are stuck holding the bag, watching their plans crumble. The mood's turned from cautious to outright grim, and no one's sure how deep this thing goes. If the storm makes landfall, it's not just the buildings that'll take a beating, it's the whole market. So here's the thing about Florida. It was supposed to be the promised land, right? Sun, sand, no state income tax, and a real estate market that just kept climbing. People poured in, developers built like there was no tomorrow, and for a while it felt like the good times would never end. But then reality hit. See, when you build a boom on cheap money and even cheaper land, you're playing a dangerous game. Prices got so high that regular folks couldn't afford to live there anymore. And the investors? They started sweating. Because here's the kicker. All that shiny new development was sitting right in the path of hurricanes, rising seas, and insurance companies that suddenly realized they didn't want to cover any of it. Then the policies started straining. The state tried to keep the party going, slashing regulations, ignoring climate risks, even propping up the insurance market with taxpayer money. But you can't outrun physics. Storms got worse, premiums skyrocketed, and suddenly, those beachfront condos didn't look like such a safe bet. And just like that, the boom turned into a warning. Because when the music stops and the risks finally catch up with you, the whole thing can unravel faster than anyone thought possible. Florida wasn't just a dream anymore. It was a lesson. So I sat down with Sarah Mitchell, a local real estate expert with over 15 years in the business, to get her take on what's happening in the market right now. She didn't hold back, said we're seeing a shift, but it's not all doom and gloom. Prices have been high, sure, but they're starting to stabilize in some areas, especially where inventory is finally catching up. She pointed out that interest rates are still a big factor. Buyers are being more cautious, which means homes are sitting on the market a little longer than they were a year ago. But here's the thing, she doesn't think we're heading for a crash. Instead, she's seeing a return to a more balanced market, where buyers have a little more breathing room to make decisions. As for the future, Sarah's keeping an eye on a few key trends. First, remote work isn't going anywhere, so suburbs and smaller towns are still hot. People want space, good schools, and a slower pace. Second, she's betting on a rise in first-time buyers as younger generations start to settle down. And finally, she mentioned that sustainability is becoming a bigger selling point. Homes with energy-efficient features are moving faster. Her advice for buyers? Don't rush, but don't wait forever either. The market's cooling, but it's not going to freeze. And for sellers? Price it right from the start. Overpricing now just means your home will sit, and that's the last thing anyone wants. All in all, Sarah's outlook is optimistic. She thinks we're moving toward a healthier market, one where people can actually afford to buy without feeling like they're in a bidding war. And honestly, that sounds like a win to me. So you're wondering how to play it smart in today's market. Let's break it down. For homeowners, now might be the time to focus on building equity. If you're not planning to move soon, consider renovations that add value. Think energy-efficient upgrades or modernizing key spaces like kitchens and baths. Refinancing could also be an option if rates dip, but keep an eye on those trends. For investors, it's all about strategy. If you're in it for the long haul, look for properties in up-and-coming areas where prices are still reasonable but growth potential is high. Short term? Maybe focus on rental properties where demand is strong, like near universities or business hubs. And don't forget to diversify. Spreading your investments across different types of properties can help balance risk. The key here is staying informed and flexible. Markets shift, but smart moves now can set you up for success later. Whether you're holding, selling, or buying, make sure your decisions align with your goals, not just the headlines. The market's been a wild ride lately, hasn't it? Prices swinging up and down, new trends popping up overnight. It's enough to make anyone's head spin. But here's the thing. Change is the only constant. And staying ahead means keeping your eyes open and your wits about you. Don't let the noise distract you from what really matters: your goals, your strategy, and your peace of mind. So, what's next? Well, that's up to you. But remember, knowledge is power. And in a world that never stops moving, being informed isn't just smart, it's essential. Stay informed and cautious as the market evolves. Your future self will thank you. The real estate market's always shifting, and right now it's more important than ever to stay sharp. Prices are up in some areas, down in others, and interest rates? They're a whole different story. If you're thinking about buying or selling, you've got to do your homework. That means keeping an eye on local trends, understanding what's driving prices, and not jumping in just because someone says it's a hot market. And let's talk about caution, because this isn't the time for guesswork. Overpaying or rushing into a deal could leave you regretting it later. Work with trusted pros, ask the tough questions, and don't let FOMO push you into a bad decision. The market's got opportunities, sure, but only if you're informed and patient. So stay curious, stay careful, and make moves that make sense for you, not just the headlines.